Sousa Show. Sports.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AMP-Pace.
Pace.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays, it's the Matt Mosley Show.
Well, the fallout, it's here. It is Selection Monday, as it's time for me to select my bracket on this Monday. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovakics. I have not filled out a bracket yet. I am going to today and then enter it in several pools, some legal, some illegal, and some right here on 365 Sports. Cam Stewart's back in the home office in Massachusetts. Chris Visser in Orlando, Florida. Phil Martelli, the legendary basketball coach, we would imagine is somewhere outside of Philadelphia or in Philadelphia, or maybe he is down in Richmond helping his son prepare for the NCAA Tournament. As the VCU Rams upset opportunity against a wounded North Carolina team in the NCAA Tournament. And then if Phil Martelli's son could advance, and Penn could pull off an upset. Then you got VCU St. Joe's, Penn in the second round. Now that's a long shot because Penn would have to beat Illinois, like I said. But could you imagine that? Fran McCaffrey and Phil Martelli's son? Be a lot of fun, Philly fans. So happy to have you guys with us. 8 teams from our Big 12 conference making the NCAA tournament. Nothing really. Look, I'm going to tell you in a moment who is best equipped to win the national championship, and then Cam and I will talk a little bit about the coach or coaches that really like need this tournament the most. Ask yourself that question: like, which tournament coach needs to win and advance? And there's different levels of this, right? And I'll give you my number one without spoiling it. And he's just a carbon copy example because there's a couple others. Tommy Lloyd is an example. In my opinion, Tommy Lloyd needs to make the Final Four. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, along with some other coaches. Now, immediately right now, when the brackets are released last night, I was actually in the car. I had a Baylor baseball series. So I was driving home and I had like the CBS Sports app. I talked to Visser for a while, which was a great convo. And then I had the CBS Sports app and I was trying to watch it while I drove. And, I'm Clark Kellogg's in the middle of just being Clark Kellogg and I'm loving it. And I changed it and it goes out. And then I'm like, I need to stop doing this. I'm actually driving. So I finally got it going safe and smooth. And there was nothing, I don't want to feed into this beast. And it's not like I have the power to do something like that. No controversy, no headlines. After last night, the only thing people could find exciting to talk about when it came to the tournament outside of the actual basketball was Bruce Pearl is losing his mind on CBS. He's still on the payroll at Auburn. That makes me go crazy when people come from on high at CBS, like the NCAA Tournament selection show is 60 Minutes. And when you hire Bruce Pearl, it's the same thing as hiring Charles Barkley. They are caricatures of the human beings that they actually are. And they are so colorful that the caricatures, like their basic human being is so colorful that those caricatures take on even more life. And they're wonderful entertainers. That's why Bruce Pearl is on that panel on CBS Sports. It's not that deep. And let's stop wasting time clutching pearls, casting judgment around ESPN. Bruce Pearl did what any other person in his shoes would have done, in my opinion. If you're planning on stepping away, look, Joe Buck, Noah Eagle, they would both tell you like they're a product of nepotism in one way or another. JB Bickerstaff, probably one of the best coaches in the NBA right now. JB wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if his dad wasn't Bernie Bickerstaff. And Phil Martelli Jr. Look, we're not going to get into this with Phil, but I don't know. Bruce Pearl and his son now having the job. We're going to see Kelvin Sampson, who everybody is so reverent to right now. Everybody wants to see Kellen do great. So do I. Kelvin, excuse me. But when Kelvin's done, he's going to hand the job to Kellen. Okay. Jim Larinaga did it last year in Miami, but almost in like a worse fashion. And we saw what Tony Bennett did at Virginia. This is not new. So the Bruce Pearl thing, everybody freaking out about him. I just want to get that out of the way. That was kind of bugging me. As far as the tournament itself, Arizona is the most equipped team to win this tournament. I don't think there's a question about it. When you look at Arizona's schedule, they have 2 losses that any other team in the country would have lost those 2 games. You win games like Houston without Koa Pete. You have the makeup of the team, right? Like this is a team that there's not many teams around the country that have this much talent and this much experience. And also like this much, the program in itself has evolved into a situation where Tommy Lloyd got his ass kicked by Kelvin Sampson a few times when he entered the league. One time by like 30 points. And he mentioned it early on. We are chasing Houston. And, and this doesn't always work, but it was very clear that if Arizona was going to be effective in the Big 12, they were going to have to get physical. Like DNA, not cherry pick a guy that can push people around. Like, we need to become physical in our DNA. They call themselves a gritty crew, right? Like Koa Pete, Tobe Awaka, Mo Krivas. Like, those guys will annihilate your front court. And then in the back court, right? Like Jaden Bradley, forget about the freshman right now. Arizona has a player and they have a team that understands who the best player is and who will take the last shot. Now, is Jaden Bradley was the player of the league, player of the year in the Big 12, right? Now, will he be the highest draft out of Arizona? Right? But, Arizona has sent dozens of guys to the NBA. Dozens. Like, if that was your worth, then Arizona would have won several championships by now, right? They only have one. Okay. And then you get into, okay, well, the last team to win a national championship on the West Coast was Arizona, right? In 1996, 97, whatever that was. Okay. Yeah. This Arizona team has shed that Pac-12 stigma, that West Coast stigma, in adapting to life, playing in the Big 12. So they might as well be a team that plays in Oklahoma. Like, their style of basketball is not flowery West Coast, right? Like, if Arizona, and they can shoot the three, right? But if they're shooting the three effectively, then you're totally screwed, because that's not what they really rely on to win games. We saw Jaden Bradley beat Iowa State. Buzzer beater, mid-range, old school hoops. I'm the senior. Give me the ball. Get out of the way. Like, Houston doesn't have that. Like, they don't. And there's, Duke, I think, is probably the closest to me that stands in the way between Arizona and a national championship. Now, all that to be said, this is a one-and-done tournament. You literally cannot guarantee. I mean, you can never guarantee. That's BS. But when you think about how good Arizona is and the way that they're made up and how good their coach is, right now there's a couple certain things now the human element has to come to play. One, I mentioned the one-and-done scenario. So, hey, man, I was listening to Tom Izzo. You've got to drag your team. You got to find a way to get to that second weekend. You got to find a way. And after that, it's anybody's tournament, because certain teams are going to lose. You're going to find yourself, if you're a 7 seed, playing a higher seed, right? In the Sweet 16, like, if crazy stuff happens like that. So all that's on the table. That being said, Arizona is the best team in the country, and they are rounded out in a way with experience. This might fall down with experience, and athleticism and coaching. And one thing I'll say too, Big 12's best conference in college basketball. And not only is it usually this happens with the best conferences, but it comes with the craziest of environments and the biggest of stages. And like, Arizona has played in a lot of those this year. Now you could say, hey, UConn and St. John's just played at the Garden, sold out. I get it. But I think the combination of athleticism, physicality, vibe, coaching, the Big 12 has the best of all that. And the best representation of the Big 12 is the best team in the country. They are suited to win the national title. Okay, that's my national champion. That's it. I don't think I'm just not overthinking it. I've seen a lot of Arizona. I know who this team is. And one of the things that really makes me feel good about Arizona is the leadership of the team. And like, they brought all these sensational young guys in around veterans like Jaden Bradley, Tobe Awaka, Mo Krivas, and Del Orso. Like, that guy will just show up now and bang threes on you when you're least expecting it. So I love Arizona. Cam, let's bring you in here. I got to get some of you. You've been quiet early. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, Pete. Are we not getting into the best week of the year for sports fans?
Well, it's the best. It's probably the best 3 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but it's really the best 3 days.
It is. It is.
there we
But
go.
if I look at it that way, then it kind of hits me like Christmas, and I get really screwed up. It gets super anticlimactic. Really, it
Okay.
does. So I really do believe, hey, this is the best 3 weeks. And I was thinking about it last night. That means we have 3 weeks out of 52, which are amazing in sports. We should be able. I was just thinking the sports calendar should be just fine, but still we find these deserts, which is whatever. But there's always, college basketball has us covered for about a month coming up here.
Speaking of the desert, so you like Arizona in the second round? You like Arizona in the round of 32, huh?
Why wouldn't I?
Could that be a tough pick for you?
Hold on.
That would be lined up against either the 8 or the 9. The 9 is Utah State. The 8 is Villanova.
Oh yeah, look, that's I saw that. I'm not worried. Look, let's go right into coaches with something to prove. I almost think that Kevin Willard has something to prove in a sense where I know it's his first year at Villanova, and I know he's brought them back to the tournament, first time since Jay Wright. But at the same time, you have an opportunity now to show that like the aftermath of Jay Wright was really just an outlier, and that Villanova basketball is a tradition, is blue blood. If you can, gosh, you beat Arizona.
Culture win.
Culture
win. Yes.
But a couple other guys, a couple other coaches who I see, and I want to get your reaction on this because we got Phil Martelli coming up, and I want to take a break before we get to him. I have Johnny Dawkins. Okay, that's on the lower end. Okay, the lower end. Expectations are not whatever.
Right. The payoff is better if Johnny wins a couple of games.
Yeah. But
I mean, he's done everyone knows, I think he's done a pretty good job at UCF. They go to the tournament every couple of years. You'd like to see one where they go to the Sweet 16.
Absolutely.
Their last that would really solidify Johnny as one of the most underrated coaches in the country.
I agree. And that loss to Duke in 2017, they were so close.
19,
was it 2018, right? 2018?
19.
It was 19 with Zion. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Taco Fall for UCF.
Taco Fall. That was awesome.
Yeah. That was like a missed layup at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
That was last possession.
Johnny's kid was on the team.
Yeah.
He's going against Kay. That was really awesome.
Johnny was a heck of a player, man.
I'm getting these rogue media messages about these shorts and stuff. Does it affect us?
Well, I'm focused on the show I'm on right now, Pete.
All right, we'll talk about that later.
I haven't taken a look at it.
All right, so I got Johnny, and then Fred Hoiberg at Nebraska. They've never won a tournament game. They've been terrific all year long.
Which, I mean, I keep thinking about how great that tournament is. The Crown. I think it might be just as good.
So Fred Hoiberg, here's a big one. Hubert Davis, I think, is absolutely has to win. Would you agree? Now he went to a Final Four, but he went to a Final Four. Jerome Tang was in the Elite Eight.
I was literally just going to say Hubert Davis
more recent than he was in the Final Four. Yeah,
the same way that Jerome Tang went to an Elite Eight. And look, it's impressive, right? It's on your resume. I'm not going to take that away from you, but a Hubert Davis one Final Four is not equal to Scott Drew's one Final Four. You know what I mean? It's just not. So I mean, it's a program that is, I think, just expected more the last couple of years. And outside of the win over Duke this year, which was obviously great. I mean, it is throw your records out the window, but still they beat Duke. And Duke's the number one team in the country. But other than that, they've had a real struggle beating good teams in a conference that has been going downhill. They are kind of fool's gold whenever they enter the tournament. They really shouldn't have been in the dance at all last year. They got in on brand name because they like Carolina more than West Virginia. Yes, Hubert Davis has a lot to prove here. And he's still getting good talent, man. He's still getting good players in through the door, and they're obviously going to have that next year. They're North Carolina. But the expectation is Elite Eight, Final
Does
Four.
he get a pass because of the injury?
I mean, probably, yes. Like, I don't think he's going to get fired, if that's the question. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to get fired if they lose in the first round. But at some point, we do this. I do this a lot with Baylor stuff. At some point, you do have to look at the whole picture. Like, there are injuries here and there, but overall, like, you're not getting the job done. I think there's a lot on Hubert Davis here, especially, I know they'll kind of tout the Final Four and the win over Coach K in his last game and all that, but like Coach K's successor has been better than Roy Williams' successor. Shire's been a better coach.
Oh, there's no, I mean,
like that's
there's
what
no
I mean.
question.
Like, Duke kind of played, I don't want to say the same game. Hubert Davis was on the staff with Roy Williams. They kind of kept it in the family. So in all intents and purposes, Duke did the same thing, and Duke just ended up way better.
I agree. I think John Shire's done a masterful job. I really do. I think this
Andy Hurley's got something to prove this tournament.
No. But I'll tell you what, any coach we're talking about, don't feel bad about your coach if we're talking about him, because a lot of Baylor fans would love for Scott Drew to even have a chance to be on this list. Yeah. Because if he was in the tournament, he would be one of these coaches. Okay, keep that in mind. Tommy Lloyd, that's a big one for me. I think, and I mentioned it, Tommy has got to take this team to the Final Four. Like, I'm not going to be that guy like, oh, he's a bad coach if they don't go to the Final Four, or he should get fired if they don't go to the Final Four. But if you're Tommy Lloyd, you can't help but to think, oh my God, like I don't think it's going to get better than this.
Does it get better than this?
It's not. Like, this is it. Like, this is one of those things, like, and you hear coaches talk about moments like
guys
this.
Are healthy now. Like,
and think about this, Cam, the stories of coaches where you're right there and you can't get it done. And like that feeling of walking off the field, the court, after you have the team and you lose, like, especially if it's like in the Sweet 16 or like the second round, like, so even if that were to happen, Tommy Lloyd's still a great coach and he could win a championship next year, but this is it. Yeah. If you're him,
Yeah. You said it, man. Like, you just don't get a roster this good. We've talked about Arizona all season long, man. Like, they are loaded. We talked about it actually with Iowa State a couple weeks ago, but the same thing goes for Arizona. Like, who's your third option? Your third option in Arizona is going to be better than almost anybody in the country. It's third option. Yeah. You know what I mean? The injuries, you had some throughout the season. They're back and they're healthy now. You've run through the gauntlet of the Big 12. You won the regular season and the conference tournament. Like, there's no excuse, man. There's no excuse. And their bracket isn't all that. Arkansas could make them stub their toe with Acuff for sure, and Calipari, of course. But other than that, like, you're not high on Villanova. I'm not high on Wisconsin. I'm not high on BYU.
Villanova, I'm not going to pretend to be the Villanova expert like I once was, but they got some guys banged up. I do know that.
And they're an 8. Yeah. Purdue is your 2. Noted Purdue that never loses when they're not supposed to in March. Like,
I do think there's a chance, and now I'm getting super myopic, but I think this is very true, especially after watching other conferences up close. The Big 12 has a chance for like everybody to advance until they can they annihilate each other. I believe that, and I think we may see
that's
going
to happen.
Yeah,
because I almost thought
I brought this Tyson poster back from Waco back up here to Dallas because I was home this week for Cam. You're the best, because I was home this week for the baseball series at Baylor, and I almost brought my Villanova, St. John's, Georgetown Sports Illustrated cover, which is like, we could see that from the Big 12 this year. We could see it. All right, the other coach, I was going to say 2 other ones before we take a break and the great Phil Martelli. Jay Lucas is a guy who, and here's my thing about Jay Lucas. He is another, like, in the Tommy Lloyd camp. Like, dude, this is probably as good as it's going to get, like, in a while. Like, his team's very good. There's a reason why they did so well this year. I think, like, don't miss your opportunity. If I'm the Miami fan base, that's probably what I'm thinking. And Mark Few also. I loved seeing Mark Few's like Gonzaga. Like they have that bracket where it's like Villanova's right there. Let me find Gonzaga. I'm the worst at this. This is like my dyslexia / ADD. I'm not making excuses, but I like when I look at okay, you got, this is it. So you got BYU, and they'll face either NC State or Texas. So you got BYU, NC State, or Texas in the second round, dude. Any of those teams could beat you, you know? So that's some stuff you have to keep an eye on. And then you get to the second round, and it's still loaded. You know, I would hate to see BYU. AJ DeBonsa is going to be the best player on the floor in any game he plays in the tournament. And that's just my experience having a chance to call a couple of his games. I really believe he's that good. All right, so we have the great Phil Martelli coming up. Let's take like a 2-minute break, and then we'll get to Coach Martelli because I see he's here, and I do not want to have him wait at all. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics. Back after this.
Looking for football talk without the fluff? It's Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, a former NFL quarterback breaking down the game from the inside, plus real conversations about sports, leadership, life, and everything in between. No hot takes for clicks, just honest analysis, strong opinions, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. Football talk and more, the way it's supposed to be. Subscribe now to Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're back. We cut it short for Phil Martelli. Here he is, 7 NCAA tournaments, a coach of the year, a guy who has been in my life since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, watching him, even when he was an assistant with Jim Boyle. If you were a Villanova guy, I wouldn't have made you wait. But, you know, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Pete, I knew as soon as I went on the air, I was like, here he is with his birds. I'm sure the people around you are disgusted with it, but you know what? Once you're in, you're all in.
That's
it.
You
let you leave. And I'll share this with you. I just walked out of the Coaches versus Cancer tip-off tourney breakfast, and one of our guests was Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, because he's a monster Philadelphia fan, and he's a monster college basketball fan. So I just walked out of the Xfinity Mobile Arena and said, I have to call in, and the first thing I see is a Birds sweatshirt.
There he is. That's a Godwink for you during the best time of year, Coach.
I got you.
How was the breakfast?
The breakfast was good. I say this on bended knee. We had to move away from the cathedral, the Palestra, because there's so much construction down there and parking. And we came down and we weren't sure. And it worked out terrific. We had a lot of Hall of Famers here. Fran O'Hanlon was here. Hall of Famer Carlin Worley was here. Deontay Christmas, Tyreek Doran, Tashi Carr, Mike Kern, Dick Girardi, Dick Weiss, Mike Jentz. It's just, and we're all here with the same mission: to crush cancer. And that's what we're going to do. And if it goes through Philadelphia, that would be even sweeter.
Coach, I love it. Yeah, we lost my brother Kevin, who's a Villanova guy, to skin cancer like 3 years ago. And I'm so, and what you don't understand the monster that it is. I'm sorry, at least my experience, till it takes a super healthy human being that you are so connected to and just, like you said, crushes them. And we want to crush cancer doing whatever we can. How can people get involved with Coaches versus Cancer?
If they go online, they can find Coaches versus Cancer as it's the national charity of choice for the National Association of Basketball Coaches in Philadelphia. In whatever it is now, I think they said 25 years, we've raised $22 million. But I always tell people that's great and you can celebrate that, but it's not enough, because somebody's going to get the diagnosis. Some person, some family, some community, some church, some charitable endeavor that people are involved in, because cancer does not discriminate. It comes after every single person in every demographic. And it's not just about that person, it's about their family. So anything we can do, time, talent, treasures, not just to the American Cancer Society, but this is, and particularly now with basketball having everybody's attention, that other than the World Baseball Championship, whatever you can do, time, talent, and treasures is all we can ask from each and every one of us.
And after this goes live, we'll clip this up and we'll put the information to Coaches versus Cancer in the link here, so people can. You don't have to go far. Yeah, you got it, Coach. On a lighter note, man, you mentioned I remember when you guys got the Worley brothers. That was a freaking coup, man. Those guys were two amazing young players. And I grew up. My mom worked in Villanova athletics, worked for Tedesito. And then, so I was always kind of around that, in that orbit. And, we didn't love St. Joe's. When I moved away from Philly, I really started to love St. Joe's, because I would just go all in on the Big Five and Philly. But some of those rivalries, some of those recruiting wars early on were so special. And I don't want to start like negative, whatever, but we're in a different time. And I'm going to celebrate the tournament with you in a moment. But you were at Michigan for a while. I always like to ask guys like you, or Jay Wright or Scott Drew, a question like this. If you would build a roster today, how would you do it and still hold on to the tenets of who Phil Martelli was and the grit and the culture that St. Joe's basketball was? Can you do it?
Well, I have to answer it on two different levels. Like, the biggest of the bigs, it is talent acquisition. It's pay for play. And maybe they have sustainable channels to get this kind of money. And then I would say to you, treat it like a pro franchise. Go out there, make sure that the players understand, their families understand, their agents understand it's transactional. And that's what you can promise them. Now, at the next level down, Pete, you have this love for Philadelphia basketball. You can feel it. If I was to build a program in Philadelphia, including Villanova, I would flip it this way. And I'm recruiting you because I know you were a hell of an athlete. So if I was to say to you, Pete, would you like to be on the path to graduate from college? You're going to answer me yes. Your family's sitting there. They're going to answer yes. Would you like to pursue championships?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to get better? Like, you're a good player now. Would you like to become on the cusp of being a professional player?
Yes.
Would you like to be in a locker room full of like-minded people? Not the same people. None of us are the same. But would you like to be in a locker room of like-minded people?
Yeah, I heard that's the best lab of all time.
Right? So here you go. I need you to trust me that I'll do that for you. I also need you to trust me. If I can get you $10, I'm giving you 10. I'm not giving you 9, and I'm not giving the starter 11. Okay? Do you trust me that every dollar I can get you, I'm going to get you?
Yeah, after those first 3 questions, even more so, yeah.
Yeah. So here's now I have to I need you to answer this question from trust. What do you need to make those first 4 questions happen? And if you have a figure in mind, maybe it's $40,000, maybe it's $150,000, or maybe it's $200,000. I need you to tell me that figure. And then you give me a figure, and then you trust me enough that I'm going to tell you the truth. Pete, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have $65,000, right? Because I want to have a roster. And if the figure is out of pocket, I would say to you, good luck. If I'm a Philadelphia school, because we're not recruiting the top 40 kids who are going to be in school for 1 year or 2 years. In Philadelphia, we're recruiting the 150th kid. But if the money is important to that 150th kid, I would say to you, go get it. Because guess what? I can get the 155th kid, and he's no difference between that and the 140. Kids that are going to leave after a year or two, yes, they're different. AJ's different at BYU, right? So I honestly believe, and everybody said, you're just an old dude, and you don't really get. No, I am convinced. I am convinced that I can go get 10 guys. Who want to go back and make this transformational and not just transactional. Not that there's anything wrong with transaction. As long as you call it, that's exactly the way it is. That it's transactional. But make it about transformational, and that comes from trusting each other.
And that's that you just moved the needle for me right here as a grown man. But that's it. And that I appreciate you saying that there still is a way, and because even at the biggest of levels, I hear stories about Kelvin Sampson, like those dudes, obviously you talk about it. They're kind of on the more special side, but they go to his house for dinner the night before Saturday home games. And that makes it so much harder for those kids, as you well know, to walk into his office and say, I'm going somewhere else. They really believe in him.
And Pete, here, that there's a thing about trust though, too. Like, if it's right for you to leave, then I need you to trust me that I'll tell you the truth. Like, yeah, you should go. Like, I have great admiration for Joe Gallo at Merrimack. Bud Clark was player of the year.
Yeah.
He told him last year, go get what you can. Now the young man's at Seton Hall, second team All Big East. Yeah.
I had a couple of his games, West Catholic kid. You love it, right?
Right. Everybody would say, well, he's too small. Well, okay, well, he's made it happen. I believe this. And isn't it interesting? So everybody follows this, right? Kelvin Sampson has had a team in the top, 8 all year in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody ever hear anybody talk about his payroll or what a guy's getting? Anybody ever hear about Gonzaga's payroll or what any guys? No. The best of the best have said, let me put that to the side and let's get down about coaching basketball. One of my dearest friends, over 50 years, is Gino Auriemma. If people knew what Sarah Strong, arguably the best player in women's basketball, if they knew what she was getting, they would be like, that can't be it. But she also has been in position, just like Paige Becker was last year, to do NIL. I'm just talking about the revenue sharing part of this. The revenue sharing part of this is different than NIL. So I believe it in my bones. And watch the programs where nobody talks about the money and watch the places where they talk about the program. Michigan State, anybody have any idea what those guys are getting?
No, I heard Coach Izzo talk about it last night. He's just amazing. All right, I want to ask you about your son in the tournament. How cool is that? I mean, let's forget about the fact that if the ball really bounces our way in Philly, we could have him and Fred McCaffrey in the second round. We'll get that out of our minds for now. But for you, What kind of ride is that emotionally? I really can't imagine the connection you have with Phil Jr. and also the feeling you must have around his success. You know, what shows up most for you, the coach or the father, when you're watching this run?
Well, I don't want to nix my son Jim, who's the associate head coach there.
Yeah.
So for the first time, we have 6 grandchildren, in 6 of the 10 all in one area, and that's an easy answer, Pete. What shows up for me is the father. I say to everybody, they'll say, "Well, what's your role?" And you must be the X and O. And I go, no. I am delighted to be the father of the coaches. It's stressful, a lot more stressful than I anticipated it being. And I do not delve into X's and O's. I bring up things and I'll say, like earlier in the year, they would close out and they'd be too low. So you really got to work on closing out and get those high hands. I'm not crazy about the way they switch. They switch what in basketball we would say is flat. I would rather switch up the floor. I may say something about, but that's it. I don't get involved in substitutions. Because I'm not at practice every day, so I can't really have a comment on that. What I do, Pete, is I watch how they treat people. How do you treat that kid on the bench who's maybe gone through a tough stretch, or the 11th kid who hasn't played, and how you treat those managers, how you treat your support staff? Are you connected with your fans, with the media? Like, this is not, it's not as hard as some coaches make it out to be, right? It is really not that hard. But I am insistent with my sons that they treat people with respect before they expect to get respect. Don't run around and get respect because of a title. Get the respect that you've earned because of the person that you are.
When you talk about that, earning the respect, and that's clearly something that they have done, that grabs me. But what grabbed me the most was when you said you didn't anticipate the stress level of this. And so what's more stressful? I mean, being a coach in the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament, or being a coach? I mean, I remember when you guys went against Kentucky, when you were really starting to rev it up, right? With, I think it was Rashid Bey, right? Because I played against him at Newman.
Yep.
Like, you guys were really on the uptick. And I was stressed watching you play because I was a Philly guy. I wanted to see you guys make your mark. Like, what is the difference between a dad and a coach? Like, it's amazing to say that you didn't anticipate such stress.
The coaching was never easy, but what I could do is I could fall into a routine. Like, I knew the day of the game, what I was going to do. I knew I wasn't going to eat. I didn't want a whole lot of interaction. I wanted to be very routine. I wanted to say my prayers at a certain time. I wanted to go to the arena at a certain time. And I would be all the day of a game, I would be like, well, what if they play a box and one and we haven't practiced that? Or what if they do this? What if they do that? And what if somebody gets hurt? And what haven't I prepared for? And then I would walk out. I would greet the other coach. The ball would go in the air, and all the tension in my body would leave. And I could go back into doing, the dumb stuff that coaches think they do. I'm going to work the referees, and it's really going to have an impact. All that's nonsense. But I never felt like that. This knot, and I am going to say this, that this knot over the last maybe 3 weeks has been mind-blowing to me, going to the VCU game. And I was really good. I was tight on Friday because I thought they were on the edge of making the tournament with one more win. And then Saturday they got off to such a great start, and it went away as the game went in VCU's way for 40 minutes. And then yesterday I was very comfortable, and then they started to play tight in the second half. I think they got tired. Third game in 3 days. I think they got tired, and they started to dribble looking at the clock instead of playing the game. They went scoreless. They did not have a basket the last 8 minutes of the game. So that was really and the other thing that happens, Pete, is I never knew what my wife went through till I've sat with her through 25, 26 games, and she knows the game. She won 3 national championships at Immaculata, so she knows the game. And I never realized how stressful it is for her during a game. So I'm okay now, but Thursday can't get here fast enough.
Coach, couple more for you. When you talk about the conference tournaments, and obviously that's what A-10 needed to punch its ticket, and we find out it's what they absolutely needed later on. So forget about all that. What about conference tournaments like St. John's beating UConn? Like, I'm just thinking to myself, and they end up a 5 seed. Man, that's a bloodbath. And now you got to turn around. And even Arkansas, they play, and Coach Cal's the best, right? He's not complaining, at least not publicly. But, they play in Nashville, and now they got to go out to Portland, and Mick Cronin's going to Philly. How real is that? Like, the further you go into a conference tournament, does that take a toll on a team as they ramp up for the tournament? Should we be looking at some of those teams that went to the championship with a closer lens?
I would think this, Pete. First of all, everybody in every locker room wants to compete for championships. So the idea that it's better for teams, to lose and get more rest, I don't buy any of that. I'd rather take it in a little bit different look, Pete, and say this to you. You mentioned Baylor earlier in the conversation. You've mentioned Villanova. At no time during the year, other than a multi-team event, which is usually at a luxurious spot and there's not as much tension as in a conference tournament, are we playing kids back to back to back. Purdue just won the Big Ten tournament playing 4 days in a row. They have never done that all year long. Why do we do it? And I don't want to be cynical and say it's a money grab or kind of thing. Like back way before you were even involved in the game, it was the path to get to the tournament, right? Because there were only going to be 32 teams or 40, whatever it would be. Now with the expanded, they know the big boys are going to get, what somebody just told me, 35 of the 68, and then that's not include 35 teams came from 4 conferences. I love it. I love the atmosphere. And I don't mean this in a smart ass way, but being around the arenas when a team loses and now these people are scrambling to get themselves home, and when they have been planning to be there all weekend or whatever it would be, there's something about that is, I guess, Americana, like you get on to the next thing. You get on to the next thing. You go like, well, where, when do pitchers and catchers, how we doing in the, that kind of thing. But do they expand the regular season, take it out to 35 games? I'm not sure. But the league that we're emulating, the NBA, in their playoffs, they don't play back-to-back nights. But yet we're doing it. And the wear and tear on coaches and players, because I can't imagine that my son's staff got more than 6 hours sleep total this whole weekend.
I mean, it's part of what's so great about the sport, but that is one thing, the conference tournaments, that I feel like I can really look at with a clean perspective and be like, I think that's still screwed up, but whatever. How about the tournament in itself? What's the number one thing that has to travel for a team to win in the tournament?
Well, Pete, they're going to throw me off the air here.
Okay.
Because I know you've heard this all the time in every sport. Defense wins championships. Pete, you're a football aficionado. Great player, great fan, the whole bit. Has anybody ever won the Super Bowl 10-7?
No.
Why? Because they have to score. So to me, to be in this tournament, to advance in this tournament, show me the teams that score. and I'm not trying to get anybody upset. Arizona is powerful. They're a monster in every possible way. Well deserving of a 1 seed. They have multiple guys that will leave to go to the NBA. But they're below 300 in three-point percentage. Is that going to be their Achilles heel? I don't know. I'm just suggesting it. So I look for offense to travel. You're in an unfamiliar building. Most cases, you're in a bigger building. Shooting percentages go down. Check it. It's historical.
Yes.
Right? So offenses travel. So when you start clearing the smoke and you're looking at those teams where offenses travel, and I don't want to be chalk, but I really think Duke's offense travels, Michigan's offense travels, and it sounds nuts to say underrated, but they're a 2 seed. Iowa State's offense will travel.
What team have you seen this year that's impressed you the most?
Well, Michigan, I just think it's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming in the formula that they've put together. And then I just think that the ferociousness of Arizona. I do. I think they're ferocious in the way they attack the game.
One more for you. For you as a coach, as you really put St. Joe's, I would say, back on the map, because I have a pretty like a full court vision of St. Joe's and who it is. What was that like when you first made it through March? Do you have a particular story that when that you remember almost was like Phil Martelli as a head coach, as the guy, from Kenrick High School, right? Went to Widener, and now here you are. It's March. The lights are bright, and you're responsible for this machine that, it means so much to the people on Hawk Hill to have that kind of success.
I think it would have to be one of the first press conferences, right? Like one of the first press conferences, and you're like looking around and saying, all of these people are interested in my team first and foremost. They're interested in my school, and they have some interest in what I have to say. That was, to me, because then it challenged me, Pete. So I could be, some would say glib, some could say, the Philadelphia kind of, I'm going to hit you with a little something here, a little something there. And when we went national and the players allowed me to be on that stage, and I thought, you know what? This is the same. It's the same as I'm talking to the Daily News or the Inquirer or Comcast Sportsnet or whomever. The ability to be me, and for people outside to see that as unusual. As I look at some of these coaches, and I'm saying, why do you make it so hard on yourself? Just be yourself. Be yourself. And everybody's trying to help you. Everybody's trying to help you. So I would say that was, to me, now, I'll take you to the other side, Pete. When I went to Michigan and I rode around or I went to the Big Ten schools, I used to go home and laugh. I laughed at myself. I would say, this is so big. I had no idea it was so big. And yet, to this day, when we beat Tennessee, and I'm like, yeah, well, we were supposed to because we were better that night. But as bitter as I can get on, I can't believe we lost to Oklahoma State. And then I've been to those places. I'm like, what was I thinking? This isn't.
Yeah.
This isn't even apple to oranges. That old cliche.
Yeah.
This is comparing like an apple to a rodent. You know, like, what are we doing? But I did. I would laugh at myself because I'm like, man, I'm still pissed that we didn't win those games.
By the way, I appreciate you saying that because even myself and my journey as a broadcaster, and it's so funny that the ultimate answer is just be who you are.
Yes,
like
sir.
that is
Yes,
it.
sir.
That is
Yes,
it. We're
sir.
all searching for your voice or your coaching method or this holy grail. Just be you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Because somebody thinks you're good enough. They gave you these opportunities.
Yeah.
So go prove them right.
Coach, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time. What you're doing for
Pete,
Coaches versus Cancer.
I am
Thanks.
so appreciative of being included. Thank you for reaching out. And I'm as I said, I'm on the move here a lot today, but I would be sitting in front of my laptop hoping that it worked, but sitting in my car and talking with you with your Birds jersey, you know what?
I'm going to talk to I'm going to talk to John Gallagher later on today. I'll tell him you said what's up.
Holy mackerel.
It's my guy.
Well,
yeah.
Pete, I'll only suggest this. You're going to listen to John Gallagher later today. Talking with is not in his vernacular.
That checks out. Coach Martelli, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. You got it. Phil Martelli, baby. Look, if you guys around the country didn't know yet, now you know why he is such a special guy and why I talk about dudes like that all the time. And coming out of there doing Coaches versus Cancer. Click that link. We're going to put it in there. I love Coach Martelli, all he's done for college basketball. It means a ton to chat with him. Thank you, Chris Visser, for setting that up. Man, that was amazing. All right, we're going to step aside. We'll come back, analyze the rest of this tournament. And I got one more topic about the Big 12 I want to share with you guys. We're presented by Slovakics.
Looking for football talk without the fluff? It's Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, a former NFL quarterback breaking down the game from the inside, plus real conversations about sports, leadership, life, and everything in between. No hot takes for clicks, just honest analysis, strong opinions, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. Football talk and more, the way it's supposed to be. Subscribe now to Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Sousa Show.
With San owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Hi, my name is Mike Lacey. I'm with Beyond the Game, a new podcast to the Rogue Media Network. Just when you thought you'd had a little bit too much about BYU, here we are to provide you even a little bit more. I, as part of the BYU group, am grateful that we're part of the Big 12 and really grateful that we're part of the Rogue Media Network. Thank you.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Cam, we back? Cam, we're back? I can't hear you.
Yes, we are back.
Okay. Sorry. All right, so let's do a quick, we do want to talk a little bit about Bumblebee Blinds, right? I mean, Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple, all over Central Texas. One-stop shop for custom window treatments, specializing in shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind their service and products. Schedule your design consultation today. BumblebeeBlinds.com. That is BumblebeeBlinds.com. Also, thank you so much, Lake Waco Golf Club. Make sure you check it out. Go to LakeWacoGC.com. Beautiful course, nestled right there on the north part of Lake Waco. Executive par 18 golf course. You can also play the par 3. Don't miss it. You got the pro shop, you got food, you got Cam at the bar on gummies and beers. It's a blast. Cam, anything else today as we get ready to wrap things up?
I am interested in what Big 12 team outside of Arizona you really like.
Well, to answer your question, because I've given great
Please
thought
do.
to this. I really like Kansas. I really think Kansas could come out of nowhere because Darren Peterson is like an afterthought, and if he gets his act together, they're so dangerous. They're so dangerous. Texas Tech, no. I would put Iowa State. If Arizona's 1, Iowa State is 1A. And then
Phil Martelli likes them, man.
Yeah, and then
He really likes him. He really likes him.
Dude, Iowa State. Look, I'll say this, and again, I'm not the expert. I called one of their first games. I almost said the F word. All the way back in November, at that Sioux Falls Pentagon when they played Mississippi State, and it was just clear like they defend you so well, like up around half court. It's really tough. I mean, they made Mississippi State look like a YMCA squad, and they've done it to so many teams in the Big 12 this year. And I think your opportunity to do it outside of your own conference now, I think kind of hits people in the face. This is like for a team like Iowa State, I think it's a new opportunity to be like, wait till these dudes see what we have. And even Sean Farnham talked about it last night. Some of these first round matchups and even into the second round, like it's like, whoa. Like I've talked to my buddies. I got a bunch of small school buddies. Tony Hayden came on here in the first iteration of the show. Tony's playing for Mount St. Mary's. Their first round opponent's Michigan State in 99. He was like, in the first 2 minutes, they were like, whoa. Like it was like, you got no shot. Like they're just so much bigger, stronger, and faster. You can do all the mental prep you want. I think unless you come out knocking down like 10 or 15 threes to start, you got no chance. So that's a first round for Iowa State. And then I believe that Otzelberger's a guy who you could say needs this. He, I hate to say that, but maybe, he took over a 2-win team, but the fact of the matter is it's like house money he's playing with. If he wants to be totally elite, he's got to make a Final Four and get to a championship. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. All the elite coaches have that. Yeah. So you're saying if he's considered a good coach right now, and he can just coast on that. It could just be a good coach.
I mean, yeah, but he's never going to do that. But yeah, if you want to coaching stock, coaching stock. Like if you are a stockholder in TJ Otzelberger, this is a very important tournament for you to cash in, right? Like, because otherwise this is a stock that you believed in for a long time and you think it's about to bust, right?
You're getting nominal gains, but you're really not getting the big hitter.
No. So that's it. I don't think Jerome Tang is going to coach Baylor women's basketball. I saw that conversation again that you and Swingler had, and I said this to you on the phone earlier, but it's worth sharing. That conversation was like watching like Anna Nicole Smith's reality show. Like, you are responsible for putting someone on the air like that was talking like that. That was your platform, right? So you're like that guy, Howard K. Stern, that was like Anna Nicole Smith's handler that took her everywhere.
All I'm hearing is I'm like Howard Stern.
Howard K. Stern. Howard K. Stern. That was no, that was funny. But there was one other thing I wanted to share with you. Besides the fact that you're the best, Cam, what was
Thad
it?
Matta retiring?
Oh, he
that
did?
Happened in the hour of the show. Yep. Thad Matta retiring.
It's Thad Matta, right?
Yeah. What did I say? Thad.
Thad.
It's
kneel before Thad. Who's Thad Matta? You're usually. I'll tell you this, and Swingler was the same way. If I was in your shoes or his shoes, because you guys are so creative and compelling, like sports talk figures, right? But you also have to produce this show. And with that, I mean, really, how much producing are you doing? Well, you have to type stuff and not spell it wrong. And I've never noticed one misspelling with you. And you don't pronounce stuff wrong either. That's your journalism background.
Yeah. I will say I've had one or two mistakes that have gotten to the air.
If I did it, there would be like 1,000. Like, there's just stuff that I'm not good at. When I was a PR assistant in Charlotte, Scott Lightman would be like, my boss would be like, send out a note to media that practice will be open this time. And I would send out like the wrong time. And he'd be like, I'd hear him in his office. He'd be like, Pete! He was like down the hall. I was just like, there is some stuff I'm just not, I mean, like, yeah, of course you can get better at that. Here's a funny story about a guy who kept his job. And then we'll go. So we're at the American tournament. I'm working with Spatola, who I get the biggest kick out of and just freaking love. But he's no nonsense. He makes me better. There's things with Spatola where it's like play-by-play 101. Like, I am very clear on like the rhythm of how this thing is supposed to go. Because one guy told me this. I didn't ever think this. And you're the same way, Cameron. Like, you're self-taught in play-by-play. I just watched and picked it up. I've never now I have been at the foot of the master, right? Like, doing spotting for guys that are calling big games for many years. But like, so I think that helps a lot.
You don't get a textbook.
No,
right? Like,
no.
You're not taking a class. Even the broadcast journalism majors aren't taking a class.
But I think Spatola did. And like, we've had a couple casual dinners where he has told me, without telling me in particular, what exactly a play-by-play guy is supposed to do. And he's right. Like, about like, and I've heard a couple of ball goes through the basket, wrap up what you're saying and get out of the way. Like, you have some leeway, but like that time between the ball going through the basket and the ball going over half court and stuff heating up, that's the analyst time more often than not. Now it's like jazz, right? You kind of work with each other and it becomes a real beautiful form of art if you do it the right way. But so Spatola, I just love. Anyways, the game is starting and we get a note. Memphis didn't turn in their lineup 10 minutes before the game. And now Tulane's going to begin the game shooting a technical foul in a series over the course of the season that had been divided by 3 total points that had separated them, had been separated, not divided, had been separated by 3 points. And like, you're just, and you'll appreciate this. he was like, when I was a director of ops at Duke, like I was in charge of that. And he's like, that's just like something that would never happen. Like, you know, and he's just kind of like, he is such a good analyst because he said the best quote, we were going to a break, and this is another Memphis guy, Sincere Parker, who has no interest in playing defense. It's just like, he goes, he's like, Watkins sees Sincere Parker, who has no interest in playing defense, and his eyes light up. Like, he is full of very good stuff. But he was appalled that, like, Penny and those guys couldn't figure that out. Now, Penny keeps his job. I'm totally cool with that. I knew right away that he would keep his job because when they fired the women's basketball coach, I remember hearing from inside Arizona State last year, like, that's just like too much almost, because they fired their women's basketball coach, so they kind of had to wait on Bobby. But now you saw what happened with him. So, all right, we got to wrap it up. I got to jump on a meeting here. And then Cam, I know, has a lot to do today. Make sure you watch Wicked Boston and all the 365 shows. Wicked Boston Sports, right, Cam? Give me a thumbs up.
Yep, that is the Wicked Boston Show on 365 Sports, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio.
You see how he like corrects me in a nice way. Spatola did that for me. My one mistake, I was like, oh, Watkins for 2. And then we start to show a replay, and he goes, yeah, that was Quante Jones. Well, watch Quante Jones here. Like, I totally had the wrong person, but like, that's how he'll correct you. The American tournament was great. And by the way, how about go check out our Brian Hodgson interview? Okay. Our coach, who spent a lot of time with us here with an amazing story. That video is still up, right? And check that out, because Brian Hodgson is a special guy. I see we got 3,000 people right now. Is that 30,000? Wow.
It's 30.
30,000 people are watching us right now. Now that's, I mean, I did a little promotion kicker on there, but people are sticking around, you know?
That Pete Sousa poll, man.
Yeah. Let's go. And that's the thing. That's Chris Visser, you know, when you're, and this is important for everybody to know associated with 365 Sports. And we're in a medium now where when we're live on Twitter, people are literally scrolling through channels. Okay. And when you're scrolling through a channel and you see Pete Sousa sitting in a closet, maybe the headline's interested, or you see something that Pete's doing that catches you and you say, okay, what's he talking about? You'll stop, right? And set up shop and stop on that channel. But if you see Phil Martelli, you're definitely stopping. And now you're hanging around. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Chris Visser. He's a titan. Oh, and one more thing. This is what happens when I get going. I'm listening to the Leslie Visser book, and it is outstanding. And here's the thing, and I've mentioned this before to people. It's weird. I still think, honestly, I'm still waiting to lose every job I have. Bottom line, I go to bed at night. That's kind of how I am, okay? I have to keep working my tail off, or else, you know, nobody's ever going to want to, you know, whatever. People wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. But I do have people that like ask me for advice and help and like, hey, you know, sort of like the mentor role. And some of them are young women, which I'm like, okay, like there's only so much I can do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm engaged here, optics, whatever. Like I'll help you, but I think now I know exactly what I'll do. I'm going to direct all of them to that book. And it's a must read for people in the industry, which is cool. It's already helped me with some stuff. And I'll continue to report on it as I get done finishing, or as I keep going through it. But yeah, I had time on the trail after I did the baseball game, the Big 12 game. So I was walking, listening to it, and it's fantastic. Okay, we're now droning on. We will be back tomorrow. I will be in Tulsa. I have an NIT game tomorrow night. Tulsa and Stephen F. Austin. Tulsa is the 1 seed in the region I am in. I will be calling the game with former SEC basketball coach Mark Wise, and I'll be with you from Tulsa tomorrow. The game is on ESPNU on Tuesday night at 9 Eastern. Thank you so much for watching the Pete Sousa Show. Cam, you rock. Chris, you rock. Thank you, Slovacics. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.